Good morning and welcome to the Monday morning rundown. Hot industry topics that me and Derek want to talk about. It was quite a busy week. I've sent Derek an invite. His pretty face should pop up in just 1 second. There he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope you people are ready for some PTI style rundown.
Yeah.
By the way, it's super echoey in here because there's nothing in my room anymore.
Nice.
I'm a little sad.
All right.
So
let's do this.
A bunch of topics. So why don't we just jump right into it? Let me pause my music. Cool. So we got a lot of, this has been a really busy week, right? Like there's been a lot of controversy. There's a lot of things going on, and GenCon is in 2 weeks. Or 3 weeks, 2 weeks, soon. And so we just thought, hey, this would be a great time to talk about a bunch of the fun stuff that's going on in the industry and get everybody else's feedback. So let's just jump right into the first comment. I want to get Derek's thoughts, now that he's had time to cool down a little bit, on what was the craziness that was the Cool Mini or Not, Death May Die Kickstarter launch, now that we've had a week to kind of like absorb their approach.
Yeah. So the Death May Die Kickstarter launch, CMON always finds a way to kind of wrap their Kickstarters around controversy. And it's kind of funny because they almost take like a Howard Stern approach, like create as much publicity in the first 24 hours as possible because people are talking about it. It's going everywhere, like it's going viral, right? And it's really interesting. I think for me, it wasn't the fact that there was a $5 bump in each level for the Cthulhu miniature, but more so the 9 to 12 month wait of getting that miniature. I think that was the thing that really kind of bothered me the most, was like, hey, here's 500 people that are going to get this miniature a year before you do. So if you play the game, you beat the campaign. I mean, because it does come with a campaign module in it, which I feel is kind of like they could have just done the miniature by itself. Like, why do they have to tie it into a campaign module? I feel like that was misleading. And they were also marketing that statue as a limited figure. So it was limited for like, 20 minutes until it sold out, and then they just raised it in the pledge.
Yeah. So I agree with all those points. And let me just state this as me being a publisher, I typically don't comment a lot on what other publishers do. I feel like that's kind of, it's bad juju, bad business, being unprofessional. But in this case, I'm also a fan. Like I back a lot of
right. You're a consumer.
I'm a consumer, and they had me hyped. They had me ready to jump on it, and the circus that was the launch. And I think it's because when you don't do a good job of proactively telling people and setting an expectation,
I get a package to sign for. I'll be right back.
That it makes it tough. So in this way, it was like they got us all hyped up, and then we couldn't like get in there and actually pledge our money. Next piece I think that was that's hard to swallow on that is the thing about Kickstarter is, as a publisher, we can build the system any way that we want. It is a big clump of clay that we can do anything that we want to do with it. Oh, there's Seb. So I think what I was most disappointed in my friends and everybody over at CMON is they had an opportunity to capture everybody and get them in and hype about it. And instead, they chose a path that alienated a lot of people. And that was just sad to see in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I'm assuming you told everybody what you and I had talked about, via Messenger for a while. And it was just that fact that a lot of their fans felt alienated. I know. And it was the fact that, as a consumer, you were more disappointed on a consumer front. And I know you kind of wear two hats with the publisher side, so you kind of have to toe that line. But I know that your heart in that post was just disappointment from a fan.
Well, and initially the whole point of the post was, man, look at what people are reacting to. Like, you just launched a Kickstarter. These are all your fans, and they've got the pitchforks and the torches out. Now we know that there's some people that are impossible to please, but in this way, it was like you have set your fan base on fire. They are angry. So anyway, all right.
Yeah.
Issue number 2.
All right, next one. Number two.
Overturn. Kickstarter.
Overturn! Woohoo!
I'm going to let Derek start this off because I feel like we have two very different approaches to this conversation. Derek, go.
Yeah, I think we do, and I think that's going to be good for those who are watching. Okay, so for the Overturn, about a month or two ago, well, actually a few weeks ago, when all this was kind of going on, Martin Poole actually posted about it, saying, "Hey, this kind of looks fishy. There's some red flags here." And so, I mean, I didn't really take it seriously because I was more of the mindset like, "Hey, the things you're talking about, like, I don't know yet. I didn't see anything substantiated." But then looking into it, after it was found out that the backers found plagiarism within the campaign, I felt that, Churn had posted on Kickstarter Tabletop Advice. There were some other people that posted about it. And I just felt like it was, I don't know, I felt like it needed to be known. So I posted about it. And I know some people in the spotlight also posted about it. So I just wanted to get it out there as far as possible. But with this plagiarism, I feel like it was kind of signaling that this campaign isn't what it seems to be.
Yeah.
And as actually yesterday, somebody posted there are 10 counts of plagiarism from their bio, from their Kickstarter page, from their copyright clauses, from the rule book. It's crazy the amount of plagiarism that they took. So I'm not a big fan of jumping on a content creator or a publisher and saying, "Hey, don't do this thing." But in this instance, I felt like there was enough there to raise some flags.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously some definite red flags. The game, I think everybody wants that game to be true because it's a good deal, and there was a lot of, I mean, the game looks gorgeous. Obviously, a red flag.
Right.
Anytime there's not a rule book at the launch, or at this point, the way Kickstarter works, if you are missing any of the major components, a video, the rule book, your shipping plan, those are all red flags. And so at that point, I think it was appropriate to have some red flags. But I typically take, these guys are first time creators. So I typically I try to find the good in people and assume no malice. And so I just think that they're probably really lazy. And I know that sounds harsh, but it to plagiarize things is showing that you're lazy. And so here's my theory, and I could be wrong. I think they got really excited about making a game, and I think they're really excited about making something that looks good. And they didn't have a lot of passion for a lot of the other areas, so they just went and copied who was doing the best. I'm not excusing them at all. I'm just trying to somehow figure out how they could get a campaign, because that's a lot of money that they've spent. I don't care if they're trying to scam people or not. Well, I mean, I do care, but like they spent a lot of money building out what that game looks like, and that makes me feel like, well, I mean, I think they actually probably want to make their game. I just think they might be lazy or unmotivated in some of those areas.
And again, they have. Kickstarter takes a lot of work. And so they probably, like you said, they were excited. They were excited about the things they knew they could do and kind of just like, oh, well, we have to do this one other thing. And they're just like, oh, just find something and we'll go with it. Like, we just need to appease the backers. But either way you look at those two things, either plagiarism by scam or laziness, definitely not a project that I would feel comfortable backing.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like, any Kickstarter gives us the ability to sort this ourselves, and if we feel like there's a lot of shadiness involved, you just don't give them your money. You see if it makes it to retail, and then if it actually happens, then you jump in there. Okay, so let's jump on, while we're on the subject of Kickstarters that seem shady and don't make sense, DrHorrible. So as a huge DrHorrible fan, like when we go to DragonCon every year, we go to the musical sing along, and there's like, if you're a DrHorrible fan, there's like all this. It's a huge fandom. People love it. It's cult, right? So when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, a DrHorrible game! But then I looked at the art, and I was like, this looks like some like MS Paint type stuff. Like, what's going on? And then as we've dug in, you found out that from on the 15th, which was yesterday, that they do not have the license for this game. And they pretty much said that they wanted to get a bunch of money into a Kickstarter to essentially force Joss Whedon and everybody involved to be like, look at how popular this is. You have to let us have a license, and that's just not how it works.
That's not how you do the thing. And I know there's a lot of people backing this one, so I'm also following this one on Kick Track and also seeing kind of how this works. So I'm going to keep this one short. DrHorrible, I absolutely love the IP. I love the license. This game doesn't even look, from even a Kickstarter campaign standpoint, like something that I would feel comfortable backing. Like, even if they had the IP, it doesn't look like a well put together campaign that I'm just not comfortable with. But on the same front, like what I think is cool is the communities that have come together to kind of build awareness for these types of things. Like, hey, I don't know if you're aware of this, but here's some red flags. Here's some things we're seeing. Like, you go do your research for yourself, but it's good to see the community come together and to be able to work together towards raising more awareness for those types of things.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I would love to see a Dr.
But
game someday.
But on the flip side, it's important that we don't take pitchforks and we don't, mob rule or, go after that type of thing. But, just respectfully saying, hey, here are the things we're seeing, and then talking about different opinions, because it's kind of a polarizing subject because there are a lot of people on both sides of the fence for both of these. So, but I think it's good.
Yeah, and I think this guy, I don't know him. I haven't talked to him, but I feel like after watching his video and like reading through the campaign, I think he has a good heart and means well. He just is unaware of that this is a very big, major lawsuit coming his way if he proceeds with this. So if you're backing DrHorrible, my advice would be you're probably throwing your money away. So because he's not going to get to produce that game. They're not going to allow that. So put your money back in the pocket. Okay, next up. The big one, the Super Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, GenCon is a couple weeks away. And, I mean, I know all the stuff that I'm working on that I'm really excited about, and I've scanned, but is it just me, or is this year a down year for releases at GenCon?
I mean, I was looking at the list of games that are coming out at GenCon, and I was honestly kind of more excited about some of the Origins releases than I was GenCon this year. Now, granted, there are some really cool games that I'm excited for, and I'm sure you're tracking as well, are the Disney Villainist, that type of thing. That's super cool. Oh my goodness, you are so loud today. And so there are a few GenCon releases that I'm really excited about, but yeah, I think it does feel kind of like a down year.
Well, and maybe there's some that are surprise releases that people aren't advertising. But like when you thumb through like BGG, a few that stuck out to me was Forbidden Sky, the new site with Fenris, Detective, Gloomhaven 2.0.
My Little Scythe.
Yep, My Little Scythe. But a lot of those already were shown at Origins. So I feel like maybe is Origins undercutting the GenCon hype? I don't know. Haunt the House. Woo-woo, Haunt the House will be there. I already got my copy, so. But yeah,
yep, Haunted House. Yeah, no. So there are definite releases I'm really excited about inside that are going to be at GenCon. But it just feels like as a whole, like last year, this will be my first GenCon, which I'm really excited about, Lizzie and I. But I've always looked at the releases at GenCon and kind of made a list of like, here are the games that I'm really excited about. Here's the things I want to buy. And then this year, the list is not as long. Yeah, it's not as long as it has been before.
Well, for us, I mean, we're going to be demoing Title Blades, and that's one that a lot of people are excited about. And we're working really hard to get our prototype ready because it's really hard to like rush a prototype to have a playable. And like the Cunningtons are working really hard to have at least have concept art ready. So it's a lot of pressure and a lot of anxiety. And I'm moving in the middle of all this, so that makes it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so you're packed up right now, right? The Hudsons are packed up.
We've got a few things that we're selling that we can't fit in a 900 square foot apartment in LA that we're selling here. But yeah, we packed the pods yesterday, and they're actually picking them up as we speak outside my window and taking them. It's takes 2 weeks. So this is the weird thing about moving across the country. This over 2,000 miles for some of my foreign friends. 2,000 miles is a long way, and so it takes 2 weeks for our pods, these big boxes that we packed everything in, to get to California. So we essentially have to live here for a week and a half with none of our stuff, and then we have to get there, and then we spend like 4 or 5 days with no stuff. So it's a really weird, like, live out of your suitcase type situation for 2 years.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I I don't envy you. I feel your pain. We moved across the country twice. We went from Georgia to California and then California to South Carolina, and it's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's rough in the way that 900 square feet is super expensive, even in LA. So I saw somebody pop up saying 900 square feet. Wow, I'm like, yeah, that's what's affordable there. And I wouldn't even say that it's affordable. I live in a house in Alabama. Let's just say the cost of living here a little cheaper. So I want to talk about 2 games that I've seen. There was a game that popped up through Threads called, I'm going to try to pronounce Endogenesis.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the game, but I know it's one of the most compelling visual games I've seen in a long time. Did you see it?
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Yeah. Martin actually shared Endogenesis in Exposure, and that's where I first saw it. Absolutely gorgeous. I think they launched on Kickstarter on August 1st. Really, really gorgeous. I saw it and I was like, I want to know more about this.
Yeah. Me too. So I'm looking forward to that. So I kind of wanted to mention it in the Monday morning rundown here, just so that people would have it on their radar. Make sure to check it out. When I read a little bit about it, it seems like he said it was like a 2-hour game. So it seems to be something that's heavier. So we'll just need to dive into that one and check it out. So the other thing I want to talk about right now is I am on a Lords of Hellas obsession kick right now. We played it yesterday. I got my second full game in. I'm calling my friends that we played with afterward and going, what about this strategy? Could I do this? Do you think this would work mixed with this? Okay, so let me have a moment of transparency. I backed it because it was gorgeous, right? I backed it because sci-fi Greek gods, yes, please. Give me. But I didn't know, area control, was it going to be any good? I hadn't played any of the Witcher Realms games. I hadn't even played this one as mine yet. So when we played it the first time, I was like, wait, this is actually pretty good. Well, I played it yesterday. I will say it's a bit of a bear. It's a bit of a bear to explain the rules because there's a lot of transactional things because there's 4 different win mechanics and scenarios. And so when you start explaining everything, you don't want to be a jerk saying, I've played this before, and then you fail to leave a piece of information out that gives you a win condition. And then people feel like you did that on purpose. I always hate when that happens. So, wow. I explained it yesterday. It takes about 45 minutes to really run through the rules well and explain it and get everybody set up and ready to go. But I explained it to 3 people who don't normally play a lot of games. And we played a great game, and I barely squeaked out a tiny little victory. And it seemed like we were all stacked up to execute a much different win scenario when I pulled it off on the last round. Have you played it yet?
That's awesome. Yeah, No, I don't know anybody that owns it. It's on my list of games to play. I'm sure somebody within our radius owns it. I'm sure Jeremy and David, Man vs. Meeple, I'm pretty sure they have it. I can probably get them to play it with me. But Awakened Realms, man, the stuff they touch is turning out gold. I can't wait for Nemesis. Edge Downfall just hit a lot of people's porches. So I'm really excited. I'm actually back in Siege Storm right now on Kickstarter. I'm a sucker for quick card games like combat dueling. The art's gorgeous. Their video, another point of controversy, probably pretty polarizing. It made me laugh. I'm not going to lie. I laughed. But it's not really something that I would say you should always kind of do. It definitely has an audience.
I was confused. It was obviously well done, except the echoey room at the beginning. But it
doesn't necessarily match the game.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, wait, is this a parody on a high fantasy game? Because they're making fun of it it's so. But then I looked at the game and I watched Rado's run through, and I was like, no, it's a serious game. And then I was like, oh crap, I have this in my Lords of Hellas box. Let me go look at it. So I thumbed through all the cards, and I was like, actually, this looks like a really interesting game and a really interesting mechanic that I want to try.
Yeah, so I'm backing that one. It looks cool, but again, Awakened Realms is somebody, when they go live on a project, I'm typically going to check it out. I really like the stuff they're doing.
I don't want to talk as a publisher. I just want to talk and be like, their art level is amazing. Their miniature level is amazing, and their production is amazing. I'm curious how they're getting their margins at their output, because they've got Lords of Hellas and what Nemesis looks like, and then watching you guys open that box, Overkill. I was like, oh my God, how did they just like put their shirt on this production? It looks amazing.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, okay. So that one's good.
So one of the things that we're going to do, we're going to keep doing this because I like this. This is easy, fun. I like talking about hot topics. So next week, Derek and I are going to have our top 5 games of 2018 so far. I didn't tell you top 5. I didn't tell you we were going to do that.
Well, I mean, I've slowly been making my list of top 20, or top 10 of 2018. It feels like it's more like top 25 of 2018. It's going to be excruciating to make the cuts this year. I think this is probably the best year we've had since 2016. Last year was pretty good, but this year has really blown my mind, and it's only July.
Well, again, this is just top 5. So, and this is more of a conversation. Yeah. What 5 have really stood out to us so far now that it's July and we're halfway through? Obviously, Lords of Hellas is going to be on my list since I'm obsessing with it. So, you know one of mine, and I'll talk about it more, and hopefully I'll get enough play in before next week. Because I can't, even though I packed everything to go, I kept Lords of Hellas out. It's the only game I kept out. I'm going to have to carry it under my arm on everything.
You got to make sure you buckle it in.
And I think what we'll do also next week, one of our hot topics will be Patreon versus Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I know that's some of the things that we've talked about in the spotlight, and we're obviously Derek's doing more research on that, and we're looking into that more. The Kickstarter is going to be an easy way for us to get those merchandise pieces that we've all talked about for a long time out, because making T-shirts can make you go broke if you end up with a bunch of T-shirts in a box somewhere. So we're going to talk about that next week as well. And let's see, was there anything else on my list? No, I think that was it. I kind of touched on everything.
Yeah, I think that hits pretty much everything. I know we'll talk Patreon versus Kickstarter. Because it's 2 platforms that do 2 very different things. And it's just what do we want to do for the spotlight? What's best for the group? What are some things we can gain support for? One thing I do want to talk, because we have a lot of people watching, if we do a Patreon, we're not looking to lock stuff behind a paywall. We don't want to lock content for members behind something they're going to have to pay for and feel like they're going to be excluded or like some sort of click. We're not trying to do that. But we're just trying to gain support because we do a lot of things that we don't get paid for, and we have a lot of really cool things we want to do. And to do those cool things, it costs money.
So one of the things we want to start doing is a podcast, but it's a big time commitment for me, Derek, Lizzie, and any of the guests. Putting that together, it takes more equipment, it takes more software, it's just more. And it's something that we want to do, something people have asked for in the past. And, we have to make sure that the time that we spend on things is fruitful, has a certain level of quality, and is something that people enjoy. And unfortunately, it just takes money to do stuff. And so on that end, we're just trying to figure out, does that look like Patreon? Is that a Kickstarter stretch goal? Trust me, no one's mind is made up on any of this. So if everybody comes out like 100% do not want to do a monthly payment, would much rather just do a one-time Kickstarter, we're listening. Everybody's paying attention.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to know from you. For those of you who are watching, I posted about it this morning. We've not made up our mind. So please let us know what you would support, because we have some things we want to do, and we want to listen to the community.
We'd love to send Derek to Essen. That's an expensive trip. Now, I know people are like, oh, I'd love to get paid to go to Essen too. Sounds terrible. But it's when you're going to work a con and not participate and play, it's much different. So if Derek gets to go, he's going to be doing coverage, bringing back games, reviewing those games, talking to publishers. He's going to get to play games. It's still going to be somewhat fun, but there's still a lot of work involved. It is not all fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's shooting footage, it's getting interviews, it's doing, if we have a podcast up and running by then, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just me going around touring Essen with my bisque and my beer and coffee and all that goodness. That's not why I would go to Essen. So,
and even stuff like this, like we've taken an hour out of our Monday, 2 people to theme this, build or do all the research for talking points, and it's something we want to do regularly. And so, hey, Derek may have to get a babysitter so Seb isn't dominating the live stream. there's things that have to happen to do the content that we want to do. And I mean, it's the reason Tom and the Dice Tower has a fundraiser every year for all the people that are involved and for all, for all the content they want to put out. You have to have resources. And so I hope people don't look at it as, oh, they're just trying to milk this for money. No, it's to help produce way more content and high quality content and stuff that we can all enjoy. All right, I have a meeting in 5 minutes. I have to meet with the manufacturer to talk about some things that we're trying to get done on Sorcerer City. Just FYI, we're humping on this. We want to get Sorcerer City out early, best we can. You heard it here first. We're trying to get it out early, but I don't have any news on that yet. So.
All right. Well, that's awesome. We won't hold you up anymore. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for everybody who's watching.
One more thing. I've got a $25 gift card I need to give away. So let me scan through in the chat bubble right now, and I'm scrolling. Stop.
All right. So James, you do your thing. Do your giveaway.
Dexter. Vorse. Dexter. I don't know how to say your last name.
Dexter Vorse.
Winner, chicken dinner. $25 gift card for watching this morning and commenting. Thanks for being a part of the Monday Morning Rundown.
I love it. All right, guys. Well, this has been me and Steb. Thanks for putting up with him. He's been noisy today, but we'll catch you guys next time.
Later, y'all.